You know what it is. We are back. I'm Parlay Hunter.
Life of D Green here, man. It's another season. We excited, baby. Football is finally back. It's been a long shit. Really, from February, what has it been? About 6 months? It's been a long 6-7 months, man. How you feeling, man?
Long time coming, man. It's been a very long off season. We took a nice break. We're back. We're back on the weekly schedule. So, everybody tune back in weekly. Bro bets. We're coming with the NFL updates, the sports picks, you know what I mean? The banter, the analytics. You know what I mean? Your two favorite analysts who are not really NFL analysts, but we know are SHIT, probably just as much or more than those people over on the big channels. I mean, Dre, come on. I think you've made more predictions than anybody. He's frozen. Dre is frozen. Okay, well, let's keep the show going.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. All right, your camera was glitching.
Yeah,
camera was glitching a little bit. You there?
We're good now. Yeah.
All right. He's back. So you know what it is, everybody. We talk about football. We talk about sports. Today we're going to talk about fantasy. We're going to talk about the Steelers. We're going to do some way too early football predictions. Real quick, though, let's just talk about the preseason. Right now we're in week 2 of the preseason games, and there's been a lot of preseason moves. What stands out to you, Dre, this year so far as being some of the biggest moves?
I think there's so many. I think really not even just the free agency. We can go Stephon Diggs. We can go, the whole turnaround in Chicago, Keenan Allen, and what the new look Chargers look like. But I think what's impressive, everybody I feel like won in the draft this year. I think there was a lot of balance to a lot of different picks. I think the Vikings made a land for the future. I think the Falcons made a land for the future with their quarterback. I'm starting to believe this JJ McCarthy thing, even though, I reside in Minneapolis. I don't really care for the Vikings news, but more so the news from ESPN and what they're gathering and how they're saying he's progressive and just coming from a winning mentality. And I think his correlation, which is similar to people we've seen before, Andrew Luck came under Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. And so I think those niches of having coaches who either coached in the NFL, played in the NFL, or did both helps. And I think JJ McCarthy's story will transcend as we get further into the season. I think he's with the best offensive coordinator who happens to be offensive head coach. And so I just think that those are kind of the earlier things, but I think overall everybody won in the draft. I think that Detroit got better. They went and targeted a need. I think Kansas City got extremely better, and they were already good. They go get Marquise Brown in free agency, then they go get the fastest guy in the world, and Xavier Worthy in the draft. And so I think they go get those players because they didn't feel like they were less explosive than they normally were last year, and they won a Super Bowl with their tight end being their leading receiver. And so, I think that each team is starting to understand, hey, we need a quarterback, number one, and then we need just the key components around that with a solid defense. And I think this year we're going to see that. I mean, if we want to speak about my team, we did a lot of moves and we've made a lot of acquisitions, and I think that we're not done yet.
Steelers?
We're not done yet.
The Steelers?
As the great Marcus Peters once said, we're not done yet. Yes, the Steelers. And you know what I mean by we're not done yet. I mean, it's still up in the air. That's why I'm waiting to see if Adam Schefter is going to report any news at this moment in time, any breaking news coming out of San Francisco revolving the top elite all-pro receiver. I think it go one or two ways. I think they either match the deal that we offered, or if BA comes to the Steelers, man, it could get real sticky, as I would say. Pause.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. Yeah. That was crazy, but yeah, I think that I haven't heard that one in a while, to be honest. But yeah, I do the Brandon Ayuk trade that. It almost seems like it's set in stone. I'm seeing stuff that there's a verbal agreement, but you never know. I mean, that would be huge for the Steelers. I do believe Justin Fields had fumbled a few snaps in the preseason game the other night. And it's, there's always this preseason hype, even with the Giants. Oh my gosh, there's so much hype with the Giants and Neighbors and Daniel Jones getting into the scrapping and the fighting, and people are loving it. And yeah, I mean, this preseason media hype train, you want to ignore it. I try to ignore it and not listen to it because it always messes with my brain when we get to the beginning of the season and we gotta put our money on the line. And so that stuff, I try to not listen to it all. Wait till I just trust my eyes and what I see. So we'll see. But if Brandon Ayuk is on the Steelers, that would be a huge, I think, significant move. I mean, it's not Mike Tomlin. We've said it on the podcast before. When Dwight was here, I think he said he was the best coach in the league. While Bill Belichick was still in the league, I have to agree. Mike Tomlin right now is the best coach in the league. So Brandon Ayuk, you got Pickens, and I believe that the run game is solid. You build around that run game. I was telling you the other day, you build around that run game and Justin Fields. I think you got something really solid there, and you got two great wide receivers that could bail you out if you need to start throwing the ball. So we'll see. The run game though is not too great. So that's just where my head's at. It's also the toughest division, Dre. You got to remember, you're going against.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yes. Well, I'll end there. Let's just, before we start talking more about the Steelers, real quick, we got to talk about Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. I mean, Nick Chubb's going to be back. I think that these are, all these teams let me just ask you so you can start talking about these guys. Who in this division, who loses this division? Who goes less than 8-9?
It depends on a lot of things. It depends on how Joe Burrow looks coming back and if he stays healthy. Same with Deshaun Watson. And then in Baltimore, their defense took a hit. We went and got Patrick Queen. They didn't re-sign a couple of other guys. I don't know how well they'll be defensively. They lose OBJ offensively. I still don't think they have enough weapons in that passing game. Lamar is slimmed back down for what reason, I don't know. I thought it was better when he was a little bit, bigger in his weight, having his size, so he could be able to handle the workload that they had. But now, they got Derrick Henry, so I think they think that that's going to change. I think they became one-dimensional again. I think they were upset with how they lost the AFC Championship because as a standard, they always been a run team, and they threw the ball 70% of the time in that game because they got behind. Yeah. But I think that you need a balance of both, and I don't know how Baltimore really looks. And for my team, it's going to depend on our offensive line and our quarterback play. I think our run game is good. I don't think it's bad when we have good O-line. Like, we're built for running the ball. So I think we're going to run the ball successfully. It's more, how is our offensive line to pass? Add Brandon Ayuk. Hey, the sky is the freaking limit for real. You got Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Van Jefferson. Remember that name? Hey, he's back. He's healthy. You got little Calvin Austin. You got Pat Freiermuth at tight end. You got Darnell Washington, big boy from Georgia, at the other tight end. So I think you got weapons. And not to mention, I'm not even going to talk about our defense. Our defense is top 3 when healthy. We go and add Patrick Queen. You got Mika. You got Joey Porter on the outside. And you got both of the 2 edges. What's his name? My boy from Charlotte, whatever his name is, Highsmith. And already know. I don't even need to speak about 90. I mean, come on, man. And Cam Hayward in the middle. Like, if
Cam Hayward's still in the league, that guy's got to be pushing 40.
And what's crazy with Cam is he's played all pro these last couple years, and he's older. And so it's like Keanu Bennett is getting better. Ladarius Neal from Texas A&M at nose tackle is getting better. So we got pieces. We went and got Peyton Wilson from North Carolina State, Buckets Award winner. Like, these names people don't know yet, but they will know. And so it's like, I'm biased because I love my team, but I think that we're right in the thick of things. And from the AFC North perspective, I think the Bengals maybe be the team on the outside looking in, or the Ravens. I think Cleveland is cool because their defense is still good. But I think the Bengals defense took a hit. And then they still didn't sign those guys. And so it's like they're playing on a 1-year contract pretty much with two elite receivers. They didn't get a deal done with Jamarcus Chase, and they signed T. Higgins to a franchise tender. So next you lose one of them for sure. You pay both of them $100 and something million. You sacrifice how you lose Joe Mixon in the run game. You get what I'm saying? So like something, and it's easy to prepare for the Bengals when they don't have a run game. So I think if we're gonna rank the I would say Bengals 4, Ravens 3, us and the Browns 1 or 2. That's just how it's being that good this year.
Got you. So you did say something earlier this year, right at the beginning of the offseason when Derrick Henry went to Baltimore, and I agree with it. You said that it doesn't change anything for Baltimore because they've always been a good run first offense. And not to underestimate Derrick Henry's ability, because I would never do that. He probably will have a Pro Bowl season, but does that even change what Baltimore already has going on? It doesn't. Defenses have already prepared for this when they go against Baltimore and their vicious run game, because Gus Edwards, Gus the Bus, was holding it down for many years. And I don't think anybody was taking him lightly. And they always had two other guys that could run the rock. So, with Baltimore, I don't think signing Derrick Henry was this huge move, this big move that's going to really change anything. But good for them, and I think he'll have a great season. So it will be interesting to see. But since we're on the subject of the Steelers anyway, let's go ahead and run down the schedule. And why don't we pick out a few of their biggest games, and you can let me know how they win or how they lose those games.
Yeah, I mean, week 1, we always got to start with week 1. So week 1 out of the gate, I just think that we play the Falcons at noon. I think that we win that. I mean, and the reasons for Mike Tomlin, he marks off certain games that seem under par in the sense of talent versus talent and work ethic versus work ethic. And I have mad respect for Raheem Morris. I think he well deserved the head coaching job. I think they're going to be good in the future. They went and got Michael Penix, like I said earlier, in the first round, surprisingly, after signing Kirk Cousins to a crazy deal with a $100 million guarantee. But I think for Kirk Cousins' first game back, you get what I'm saying? Like first real live game, we don't know how that Achilles look. That's just like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. We don't know what the Jets are gonna be until we really see it. Like we gotta see it, because we're talking about Achilles injury with 2 guys over 35. So I think that plays a huge part with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith rushing the quarterback and Patrick Queen in the middle. I think I don't think it's an easy dub, but I think we win that. So I think
Let me get a score. Let me get a score prediction.
I'd say, I don't know how our offense is going to look. I would want to say 31-10, but I'm really going to say 24-10. 24-10.
He said, I don't know how the offense is going to look. 31-10. All right. So if the offense looks good, it's about 52-10, something like that.
No, it's about 31-10. It's 31-10.
All right. All right.
If the offense doesn't look too good, we're 21-10, 24-10. Get a couple.
Okay. Next game I want to ask you about. This is a team and a guy that you have recently told me you think is going to have a breakout season. He's going to be the next, I don't know, maybe Lamar Jackson, something like that. I want to take you to Indianapolis. I want to go to Indianapolis. I want to talk about the Colts. Michael Pittman. I like Michael Pittman. Hey, fantasy radar guys, I like Michael Pittman. I think he had a stretch of a few games last year where he was like getting 100 yards, 9 catches, and he was crushing it. And he looked like one of the best receivers in the league. Granted, it was with Gardner Minshew, and it was for about 4 weeks during the season. I would not sleep on Michael Pittman. But let's talk about that Colts game, all right? Because before you just say, oh, it's an easy dub, let's remember, let's say Anthony Richardson is having a Pro Bowl season, just like you predicted. Take me down that game.
I think that you're right, and I'm not looking past that game, and I hope the Steelers don't look past that game Sunday night at home. So you can get lost. This is one of them games. This is what they call a sandwich game. This is a trap game right here. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we're coming off of we should beat the Broncos. We should beat the Chargers as well. They're both two young teams that are still trying to find themselves with new players. Justin Herbert doesn't have his same type of receiving core as he normally. He doesn't even have Austin Eckler. So we should find a way to win both of those games, being that we're going to the Broncos and then we're playing the Chargers at home. Then we got to go on the road to the Colts, which is a tough game. This is how I see it. If we come in prepared as if we're playing for that week, then we should be fine. It should be a tough because real players know real things. This team is going to score some points. They got the weapons to score. They got the quarterback to score. This team will score some points. So this is a game where whoever's quarterback, Russ, Justin Fields, they're going to have to show up. This is a game that I hope we do get Brandon Ayuk because this will matter. Brandon Ayuk will help George Pickens. We'll be able to throw the ball down the field. We'll be able to spread it around amongst our weapons and go from there. If we don't have Brandon Ayuk and we don't come and we're overlooking this game, I don't want to say this. I want to be clear. I don't want to say we're overlooking this team. I think we're overlooking the game because we understand the next couple games is a stretch. We got the Cowboys. We go to the Raiders. We play the Jets. And we have three, after that Colts game, we have three games that are either going to be on a Sunday night or Monday Night Football. Out of the next four, we're going to be on TV in prime time 3 times. So I think the focus level is where I'm saying, now I'm giving our audience, I go back, I love this because I give our audience the expertise for me playing football as an actual player and knowing kind of what these guys go through in a 6-7 day stretch. It's like, it's important to remember these guys' mental fortitude and how great Mike Tomlin is keeping his players in containment of that focus level. And I think if we don't look past the Colts, it should be a win. But hey, they're good. And they got offensive weapons, like you said. And that's going to be a good game. So that can go either here nor there. So when I label that, I put a dash by that. I don't know about that. That's not a loss, but it's not a win.
Score prediction.
I mean, I'm gonna say we win, and I think we win by a field goal.
Okay, I'll take that.
We do have the better kicker.
All right, my prediction real quick before we go to the next game. We're gonna skip a few games, but I want to say that they're gonna lose, and then they're gonna come back and beat the Cowboys next week at home. It's gonna be one of those games where, like you said, a trap game. And then they come back and they beat the Cowboys in a big upset when they are underdogs by 3 points. That's my prediction. Huh?
No, I think we were predicting different. I think that
Yeah.
I think we beat the Colts. I think we lose to the Cowboys. That's where I thought we would take our first L, just because the momentum of, like, we know the NFL too, and it's weird shit that happens in the NFL. When we say teams are due for an L, like we go 1, 2, 3, 4-0 out the gate, teams are going to be like, Steelers, we didn't see this coming, blah, blah, blah. They're going to be due for an L at that mark because I think we beat the Raiders. Nobody, and then we can lose to the Jets. And
that's where I wanted to go next.
I think we definitely lose to the Jets. I just think if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this team, there's no more, and I don't live in New York, and you're a Giants fan, but you know news with the Jets as well. There's no more room for error, and there's no more patience from the fans. Like, the Jets have to make some shit happen this year. They got to go deep into the playoffs. This is one that Aaron Rodgers has to win because it's one of those games. And like I said again, this is on Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh. It's like, yeah, we got a good team. They got a good team. But I think they got the better quarterback. And that's, being healthy, they got the better quarterback. And it doesn't matter if we had TJ Watt or whoever. It always is whoever got the better quarterback and got him playing good at the right time is going to matter. And I just think, that's middle of the season where teams are, starting to come into their own. And I think that the Jets, they beat us in that game. But I think we come back and we win our next two. Beat the
So I had a few arguments
Right.
last year with
and
some
we
people about
beat
Robert Saleh.
Commanders. Then, yeah.
Well, no, I just, Robert Saleh still has something to prove. And I give him the leniency of, well, you were working with backup quarterbacks, guys who are not number one quarterbacks in the NFL. So I will let it go. But what Robert Saleh has proven to me is that he's a great defensive coordinator. He can put together a great defense, and that's going to really help the Jets this year. Offense, they got Aaron Rodgers, his guy that he defended when Sean Payton was saying stuff, dogging him a little bit. So they have their guy that they want, but now you have to prove it. So, like you said, I mean, the Jets, they have all the pieces, and it comes, when you have all the pieces, you got to have the coach. And when you look at the coaching matchup, Mike Tomlin versus Robert Saleh, I'm taking Mike Tomlin every day of the week. So when it comes to this game,
Yeah.
I picked the Jets too, assuming everything's going to be going well. But that's not how it always works in the NFL. And it does come back up to the head of the snake, and that's going to be Robert Saleh. So if things aren't going well for the Jets this year, let's say they lose their first 3 or 4 games, Saleh's going to be on the hot seat. So that is something to look out for. Yeah. I have high expectations for the Jets, but Robert Saleh, I think all the pressure is on him this year. And really, it's his, he's got the ball in his court. You know what I mean? If he doesn't do anything with it,
yeah,
it's going to be bad for him. So moving along. Real quick, you said they lose. Let's get a quick score prediction.
Last year, yeah. Jets and Steelers?
No. With Jets and Steelers. Score prediction.
I think we get smoked. I think it's like 31-13.
Okay.
I think it's just one of those games. No point intended, no diddy, pause, all of that. It's a beatdown. It's a real beatdown. Like,
okay. So
I just think that Aaron Rodgers on Sunday night, like, he's gonna flourish in those games, man. He has to. He's playing for his legacy. This season is really is the capstone for him. If he ever wants to even get into that Brady, that Peyton conversation, like what those guys did in their last stages of their career, Brett Favre, even like Drew Brees, like, we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play football in 3 years.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Wow. Yeah.
And last time we seen him play a full season, the Packers in the did they lose to the Lions, didn't they?
Yeah. Wait, what are you talking about? Last year or
they didn't make the playoffs to the Lions?
Not sure. But
2 years ago, before he went to the Jets, they lost to the Lions.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I think. Go ahead. I think
they
didn't make the playoffs 2 years ago, and that's what I'm saying. So he has. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I want to move along to what I'm going to call the gauntlet, and that's your last 8 games of the year. When you look at those last 8 games, you got all division games and then the Chiefs and the Eagles. Let's just talk about that gauntlet real quick. Let's talk about those 8 games. I just want to put those 8 games in the category real quick. Give me the overall record of of those 8 games. Do the Steelers go 4-4? Do they go, 3-7 or 3? I can't do math. 3-5. How do the Steelers get out of this gauntlet and make it to the playoffs?
I say this. we definitely gonna play hard each game. I will say this. I think we can beat Philly. It's in Philly too. I don't like that we always got to play Philly in Philly. I think they need to come travel to West Pennsylvania sometimes. But I think we always split in each division. I think we split with the Browns. I think we get back on the trend of beating the Bengals twice this year. I just got a feeling. Just because, like, yeah, their offense is going to make plays, but our defense is better this year. And their O-line is still their O-line. They're trash to me. Like, they got a rookie tackle. I don't trust him versus TJ Watt. Like, and they don't got no run game. That's the thing, too. They don't have a Mixon is going to be big for them. Like, nobody's scared of them. So now they know how to prepare for them. I think that we beat the Bengals twice because we beat one of those teams twice in our division each year. Last year was the Ravens. Nobody thought we would do that. They didn't really play for nothing in the second game. Who cares? We still swept them. So I think we sweep the Bengals, split with the Browns, split with the Ravens. 2, 3, 4. That puts us at 4-2. And I think we beat the Eagles and lose to the Chiefs. So that'll put us at 5-3 out of those last 8 games, which would put us at an overall record of 5-3, 6-3, 7-3, 7-4, 8-4, 8-5, 9-5, 10-5, 11-5, 12-5. I like that. Am I missing a game because we go?
I would like that too if I was a Steeler fan. I would like that too. So I like the rundown.
12.
I like the rundown. I thought that was really good. We will move along to fantasy. Let's talk about busts. Let's talk about breakouts. Just a couple players on your radar. You know, we talk about fantasy here and there, and I mean, I think that there's a lot of hype around fantasy every year. Only there can only be a couple guys who really break out and do what they're supposed to do. And usually, you look at the top guys. Every year it changes. The number one guy, the number two guy. I mean, there's always a different rotating order of who's the best and who's not the best. But when you look at fantasy this year, who are you looking at? Busts or breakouts? Who are you thinking is going to make an impact in fantasy and other people's leagues and teams? Whether it's good or bad.
I mean, I gotta go to East Rutherford to start, man. I gotta go to East Rutherford. Them Giants, man. I think Malik Neighbors is gonna be that guy. He has that Justin Jefferson. He has that Justin Jefferson feel to him, more so than everybody want to compare him to Odell because he's with the Giants, or Jamar Chase. He reminds me of what Jefferson. And what I mean is he's gonna be a reliable partner who's going to catch a lot of passes in that Giants offense. Trust me, we're talking about in that 100+ reception type of season, in which is big for the Giants. They haven't had that since Odell Beckham or Victor Cruz. So it's like, it's been a while since they had a receiver who's done that type of production. So I think in the fantasy world, if you're looking for a solid 2-3 receiver, for sure him. I think Michael Pittman is another good choice, what you mentioned earlier, because I think you got a healthy Anthony Richardson.
Let's go back and forth.
Any of the Go ahead. Go. Your turn. Go.
So I'm gonna say what I really like. This is a break. Well, not. I guess it would be considered a breakout because he has been very quiet. I really like Saquon in Philly. It sucks that he left New York, but it is the right move for him. He's going back to Philadelphia. That team, very, very good at running the ball. Even with Kelsey gone, you can't mistake the other four guys who really create the best rush offense in the league these last few years. I think Saquon is in the perfect place. He's on the perfect offense. And, it's going to be a lot different than what it was in New York. So I really think Saquon goes back to the Christian McCaffrey conversations of who's the best running back in the NFL after this year. I mean, you go from, and listen, let's not be nice here. The Giants have been terrible. I mean, they were terrible. It is what it is. The O-line has been terrible. They have not gotten it together for a very long time. Philadelphia, they have been in the playoff race. They've been to the Super Bowl. This team is ready, and this is what a running back needs. So I think a breakout superstar, Saquon, I think you could draft him at the low 10, 11 area. He should be there. He's probably, ranked around 15 or 17 or something. So I think a breakout season's coming for Saquon.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Saquon is a good pick. I think the offense will definitely change around him for Philly. I think they're gonna see a change because last year they were just so predictable. It was bad. It was like their offense was pass the ball. DeAndre Swift had a couple games, but then it was just like run the fucking quarterback sneak every run play. Like it was weird watching that. But I think the next guy I want to talk about, is a couple guys I can go and talk about. But we've been fascinated with this team for a couple years now, and it's like I had this dude on my team, and he's solely the reason why I won fantasy last year. By the way, I did win our fantasy league. I do want to remind y'all I'm going for my back-to-back run. This year, I'm getting a belt if I win, and I'm putting back-to-back on. I'm getting a WWE belt. This is not the personal gift that everybody gets. Normally, it's somebody that everybody just gets money. But if I win this year and go back-to-back, I'm getting money, and I'm going to get this belt. Just want to state that, first of all. But Tyreek Hill, number one player as the number one top 100 player in the league. Tua got his money. They added their defense is a little bit different. Some, new guys. I think, it's going to be interesting to see how they play as a team. But two, can he do what he did last year? Because at one point, this dude literally was a cheat code. Like, legitly a cheat code. He had 3 games of over 200 yards. And then he had 8 games over 150 yards. That's, for a receiver, is unheard of, Hillemeyer. I mean, parlay. And I mean, I don't know. So I think if you're going to go fantasy, I'm definitely going to draft him again and draft him high.
I like it. I think, he's he might be the best football player in the league, and he's a great receiver. He can do all the great receiver things, and then he's also the fastest guy in the world, basically. Not actually, but he is probably the fastest guy in the NFL. Moving on, I'm going to go with a bust here. And I don't like this guy's situation. And I think actually after this year, the head coach, or maybe next year, might get fired. I don't think they're setting him up in the right play and with the right offense necessarily. And that guy is arguably, to a lot of people, the best quarterback in the league, Josh Allen. I want to say Josh Allen, I think he's going to fall back this year again. And I do think that they have good tight ends. They play in Buffalo. It's the weather. Hey, I'm going to tell you, the weather in New York is crazy, especially up in Buffalo right now. The weather is a huge factor in the NFL. You got storms, you got, tons of snow. He's playing in arguably the roughest conditions. And then they got this guy, Keon Coleman, huge wide receiver. When you already got tons of tight ends, there's something going on with that offense. They're trying to build them bigger, and I think they want to have this great run game. They don't have a great running back that, I mean, they have, okay, I won't say that. I think Cook is a very, very, very good running back. I don't know if, I mean, his brother, Delvin, they had some great years with the Vikings. Cook will be good. James Cook will be good. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like you need a lot more. You need a lot more around Josh Allen. They lose Stephon Diggs, which is probably for the best. Stephon Diggs, I think it's starting to, it's the end for Stephon Diggs is coming. Even though he's with CJ Stroud now, I don't think that him in Buffalo was working out. I think that was the right move. But to replace him with Keon Coleman, they also got rid of Gabe Davis. Nothing crazy, but you lose some guys. I think that offense is starting to take a step back. They're going to try to push on the run game. And I do actually take back what I said about James Cook. He is a very, very good, capable. He might be a great running back. But that doesn't necessarily help Josh Allen's fantasy numbers, which is what we're talking about. We're talking about fantasy. We're talking about points. So even if they are a good team, I think Josh Allen, his stats, his touchdowns, his yards is going to take a step back. And, it's not always as glamorous as people like to say. You might be the most talented guy, but you might not be on the best team and in the best place to put up huge numbers. So I'm going to call Josh Allen for a bust year.
Pick. Going quarterback is different because quarterbacks, their point situation in fantasy is different. I'm going to go back to the Windy City, and I'm going to go to a guy that should be a Hall of Famer, should have retired a Charger, and I just think he's in a sandwich of a situation. Keenan Allen. I just think he will have production. Hear me and hear me right, people. Like, he's going to be good. He's going to have production. Will he have the Chargers type of production? I don't know. Bears just paid DJ Moore some crazy numbers a couple weeks ago, and they set this offense up for Caleb Williams in perfection. You have DJ Moore, who's your gadget guy. You have Roma Dunze, who's your true X, who's your true big receiver. And then you got Keenan Allen in the middle, who does to feed and not enough spoons to feed him with, if I can say. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you got DeAndre Swift in the run game. And we talk about weather inclinations. We're talking about the Windy City. We're talking about Chicago. What does the games look like when we get to November and December where they matter? Like, how does that handle production for the Bears overall? But Keenan Allen as well. Keenan Allen is from California, Southern Cal. He's played in Southern Cal his whole life. It's going to be a transition for a guy to play from Southern Cal to Chicago now and be productive. And so I sadly want to say he's going to be a bust in fantasy. And I'm going to go to another guy because I've been saying this the whole year. We're going to go back to the AFC North. We're going to go back to the Ravens. And we're going to go back to receivers. I said this earlier this year. I'm going to keep on saying it. Zay Flowers has a lot to show me this year. I don't believe it. I don't hate the guy. I think he's a very great talent, speedster, ability. But now when you go back to being a really run-heavy football team with a guy who's a 5'9", 185 slot receiver who's not as fast as Tyreek Hill, nor can he really run that route tree from the outside, how productive is he without an Odell Beckham? And then you have two good tight ends in Andrews and the other guy, I forgot his name, but you don't have nobody. You got to be the true one receiver. I don't think he plays as good as he did last year.
Okay. I want to ask you before we cap off the fantasy breakdown, Brandon Ayuk, does he have a better fantasy season on San Francisco or on Pittsburgh?
He's going to have better fantasy on San Francisco because he is their number one guy from a receiver weapon. I think they know that, and I think that's why they're playing these games with him, because they really don't want to lose him. They really would rather Debo walk because of his injuries and his production, and it's hard. Brandon has never been hurt. Why not give him the money? You get what I'm saying? They just don't know where to find the money because, two, they know if Brock Purdy plays good this year, they got to re-sign him to the level of where the market is for the quarterbacks. And that's a tough thing because they don't really want to even pay Brock Purdy that money. But what's happening in the league now, these markets are set by the next player who gets paid. So you got to give Brock Purdy at least $200 million. And you know, it's if a guy was Mr. Irrelevant and he still signed free agent, he would have never got that type of money. You get what I'm saying? You don't go from Mr. Irrelevant to the highest one paid. It doesn't matter how well you play. Like, that's not what the football was like in the early 2000s. But now the money is different. And so San Francisco is thinking about that while thinking about paying Brandon Ayuk. But when you're talking about production, no, he's for sure, because he's already fit in that system. He knows that system. Even if he comes and plays with us, he's going to have to learn the system a little bit. We're going to have to figure out what works best for him. And then we're going to have to figure out how do we manage him getting the ball and George Pickens. So I think off the, you know, from just thinking about it, he's going to be more productive in San Francisco. Now, will he win with them? We don't know. That's another conversation.
Okay. So let's go over to way too early. You know, I don't want to say Super Bowl predictions, but, you know, who are you looking at right now? Like, okay, this team is ready. You know, it might be two teams. Maybe you'll pick one or two or three teams, but this team is ready to win it all. And unless something crazy happens, a catastrophe, you know, major injury, they will be in the AFC, NFC championship or Super Bowl. Let's go for some way too early champion predictions. If you want me to go first, I certainly can. Okay, I'll go first. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at these teams right now, and I said it, you know, I didn't want to say this team, but I'm going to say this team because they really do have everything, and it all comes back to the head coach for me. But the Jets, you know, it reminds me of Tom Brady on the Bucks. You got everything, and in fact, this defense is arguably better than the defense that Tampa Bay had when Brady went to the Bucks. This defense is very, very good. Arguably the best, number one or number two, possibly. You have Breece Hall. You got arguably the GOAT quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. He's not. Tom Brady is. But I'm just saying, you know, well, I mean, it's a conversation to have. But you got Garrett Wilson. You got a lot of capable guys. It comes back to Robert Saleh. And if they don't, I do believe they go to the AFC Championship. That's my prediction for the New York Jets. What do you got? What do you got? I think your connection is
That's how
just
parlay does it. But I would say, I said that was a good pick. I said that was predictable by parlay, but I was just kidding with you. I was just joking.
all good, all good. Your connection's a little bit
Talking some shit, but
it's all good. we didn't
it's
hear
a little weary. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Verizon Wireless. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with a team in the NFC nobody's really talking about, and that's the Packers, man.
Ooh,
Packers.
I like that.
I just earlier on NFL Live, I remember Orlowski talking about what Jordan Love is proven. He's got hit for Aaron Jones. You swap out Aaron Jones for Josh later in the season in playoff football. I don't think, even though Aaron Jones had a crazy game versus the Cowboys in that wild card, I still don't think that they trusted his ability of what they were looking for. Like, I think Aaron off the 49ers, in which he did play in there. But think they really want more ground pause type of running back. And so you need a true number one receiver or some guy that, you know, a diva receiver, a big namer. Like they get shit done. And their defense is underrated. When their defense is healthy, they play very good. They're a fast defense from the front seven. And then they go up upgrade and get Xavier McKinney from the Giants, which I think will help them. And I know they did some type of things, but I can't be noticeable. But I think nobody's talking about. They're talking about the Vikings offense, but I think Green Bay sneaks in there and they can be a team that can go far because I think Jordan Love, when you want to talk about a true rookie season, you know, his rookie was 2 years ago, well, 3 years ago, but he didn't play his rookie season played. And then the year after that, Aaron Rodgers got a little bit of hurt, but then he played a little bit, but Aaron came back. And then last year was his first full year with Aaron going. So that was really, last year was his first rookie season. I think he emerges. I think he doesn't take a step backwards. I think he takes a step forward. I think he starts off fast because, too, if you remember, Green Bay didn't start off fast last year. They kind of got to the middle of the season, team didn't know, and then they beat the Chiefs. And when they beat the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, they didn't stop. They didn't look back. And I think he takes that type of maturity in gameplay and he runs with it, bro. I think if I want to go look at their schedule real quick, but I think Green Bay for sure is a team that, you know, it's gonna be hard to keep them out of there, bro. I will say that it's gonna be hard because their division is good, but nobody's talking about what they got. And they start off with the Eagles in Brazil. That's the first game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really like that pick because Jordan Love made me a believer at the end of that season last year. And I really like it when guys prove me wrong. Like at the beginning of the year, I saw the first 8 games and I was like, you know, I don't think Jordan Love is going to be the guy. And then everything shifted and I did a complete 180 and I'm watching him at the end of the year and it looks like a completely different guy. He got so comfortable. He's, you know, throwing, you know, great passes. So, I mean, I have to agree. That's a great pick. And I really, I think I have high expectations for them as well.
Yeah. Give us one from NFC and then I'll give one from AFC.
You know, I'll take it down to the same division and I'll say the Lions. I mean, it seems very like hit or miss with the Lions this year, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have they're doing something different too. I mean, you see
Can they get to the same spot though? Is the question. Can they get to that same NFC championship? Because that's hard to do.
I mean, right. Yeah. I have to say yes. Like that will be my next thing is like they got better on defense through the draft. They know that that's their weak spot. So they have to focus on the back end of their defense. But they're kind of doing something different with the 2 running backs. They got a lot of good receivers. J-Mo is going to be healthy. He's starting to develop. Laporta looks good. St. Brown is arguably top 3 receivers in the league. And Jared Goff has proven since he went from LA to Detroit, he can stay in this quarterback. He's not a bust. He's really the real deal. He was drafted at where he's at. He's going to have a long career. So I really like the Lions. And I think that a lot of it goes back to the defense in the front 7 and in the trenches. Because when you get to the end of the year, those games, it really comes down to the trenches. Guys are beat up. Guys are injured. It comes down to the blocking versus the D-line. And that's going to be the area where, okay, they have their guy, Hutchinson. You know, he's supposed to be one of the next great, pass rushing ends. So we'll see. I think that I'll take the Lions as my NFC pick for this episode. You know, things change, though. I'm probably going to have different ideas and predictions after week 1, but that's where I'll go.
My AFC pick, man, this team right here, man, I don't think nobody's seen it coming. because I think everybody's seen it coming. And the reason why I'm going to take this team, we talked about them a little bit here in this episode. And it's been a great episode, by the way, outside of the technical difficulties. I'm glad to be back. I will explain why this is important to me in a little bit, but I got to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I mean, what they're trying to do has never been done since the New England Patriots. I believe they were. Didn't they go 3 in a row? Didn't Tom go 3 or did he go 2?
2 in a row,
2.
but they won one. They skipped a year and won
After
before
that. Yeah. And so what they're trying to do right here, they are. We know that, but last year they didn't have the weapons that they have this year, and so they have better offense, same defense. Outside of they lost one key part, and this definitely will matter at some point in L'Jarius Sneed. But outside of L'Jarius Sneed, they're pretty much the same team. They lose L'Jarius Sneed and Willie Gay, but I think they can put out Willie Gay more than L'Jarius Sneed. But it is going to be impressive to see how determined 15 and 87 and the head coach are to making this happen. And I think they got a real good chance at making this happen. Obviously, I'm biased because I want my Steelers to get to 7 rings, but I think Kansas City is going to be tough to get out of the playoffs and tough to not win the Super Bowl because they're chasing something that has never been done. And when you're doing that, your willpower and determination and how you about preparing changes. And I think that they're more determined to win this one than they have their last 2. And so it's not that we're blinded or we're going to be surprised, but we need to be surprised at how they're winning these games this year. I think if we go look at their schedule, they have the makings to like win 13, 14 games.
Yeah.
And they can run off and really go crazy. And it's starting with the Ravens. It's and you know what's going to be interesting? I didn't mean to cut you off, Parlay, but it's going to be interesting to see how that game goes because that's the AFC Championship rematch. But 2, like I said, we're going into this new year and they're trying to win a 3-peat. And if they send a statement, and what if they beat the Ravens 31-7? That's a strong statement in week 1.
Yeah. And I brought up Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes, you have to argue as well. And another Super Bowl, people are going to say Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. I mean, the guy, he really does do things that are pretty remarkable on the football field. And, I mean, I agree with you. That guy, that team, Andy Reid, you saw what they did with Marquise Brown and Worthy and Kelsey and Rice. The defense has got to hold up, but when you got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback and he's got that many weapons, I mean, I don't think any defense will stop them. That you did see what they did last year. Pacheco, they started running the ball a lot, and I wonder if it's going to switch back to passing the ball this year more, and it's going to throw people off because they threw people off last year. Now it's like a mystery box. You know what I mean? Now, is Pacheco going to run for 70 yards and Mahomes is going to bail them out on 3rd down every time? I mean, it's a pretty good way, but of winning games last year. But this year, Mahomes might break fantasy records all time.
He's never had, in all due respect, I just came to my head. Yeah, he had Tyreek Hill, and he even had Mecole Hardman. But he still has Mecole Hardman. He has Xavier Worthy, who's faster than Tyreek Hill, and he's never had this type of speed.
Yeah.
And he's never had these type of players at this age. Like this team, if they keep that nucleus of receivers, Travis Kelce can go retire into the moon, and he still have some dogs. Like, we've never seen Kansas City with this type of artillery. I'm just keeping it real, bro. It's going to be scary because the AFC West is garbage this year.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
The Chargers, we don't know.
First year, first year head coach.
Keenan Allen, who were 60% of their offense, 70% of their offense is gone.
Right.
Then you
Well,
got
I
the
guess
Raiders
it's
who
not
don't have a
Harbaugh's first
quarterback.
year. He was a head coach in the NFL, but I mean, first year back, new team. I mean, they've got a lot to work out. I don't think the expectations for the Chargers are high. I don't think they are at all. I mean, I think people will give them a year to adjust. So, yeah, Mahomes, I mean, imagine they might win 14 games. I mean, 15 games. Who knows?
I will be surprised if anybody outside of them is over 500. Slightly, I'll say the Raiders can be over 500 because AP Antonio Pierce, he's not gonna back down. But I would be surprised if any of those other teams make the playoffs. By far, I bet $1,000 nobody else in the AFC West gonna make the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that was a great episode. Let's close out with a mental health check for both of us. We like to do this with our fans. We get to be real for a minute and talk to the fans, and just to communicate and let people know what's going on in our lives and how we're feeling. So you want me to start? I can start off. Yeah. I mean, my mental is good. I feel like with football right around the corner, you got a lot to look forward to. We like to have a lot of fun. It's like this is the time of year where you get to celebrate with people and have fun with people. And I really want to say to the fans that we've been seeing a lot of fights go on at games and whatnot, and I think we need to cut that out because I mean truthfully it puts people in a very uncomfortable situation when you're around people fighting all the time. Even if you're drunk or you're high or whatever, I don't think football games are the place to fight. I think it's the place you can talk shit, you can yell, but we're here, we're trying to celebrate something fun. The game is crazy. There's enough injuries on the football field as it is. We don't need to have injuries in the stands and putting people, throwing people down the stairs and whatnot. So I really want to put a message out there to people that, this year have fun watching the games and whatnot, but we do not need to be fighting. We don't need to be beating the crap out of each other. Just for you. Listen, you're not even wearing the jersey and playing. So if it's that serious to you, I mean, you need to kind of get a life. So anyway, I want to put that out there. Let's have a peaceful season. And my mental is good. I'm very excited and I'm very focused.
Got a lot of new music going on, man.
And I want to make money this year with the sports betting. I want to be very, tactical about how I manage my money and my risk. I think that's the part about betting that people, especially beginners and newcomers, lose sight of. It's all about risk management. It's not about, you're going to lose. You have to accept that. You're going to lose. So you have to risk and manage your risk and expect that you're going to lose. You're going to win too. Expect that you're going to win. But with that being said, manage your risk, manage your money, put it in a pie chart, and make sure that you're very tactical about where you put your money and how much you bet. And you have to do this responsibly if you want to do it at all. Otherwise, you're just going to go down a path of misery and losing and being broke. So be very cautious about how you bet and where you place your money and how you do all that. So be very, appreciate what we have here. We're all here on earth. We all get to enjoy this experience together, but don't mess it up by being overzealous and overconfident. And sometimes you got to check yourself and remind yourself that you got to be smart. You got to think 2 steps ahead and you got to be tactical.
Yeah, man. You want to talk about the new music real quick?
Yes, I just dropped a new single. I dropped 2 singles, Double Down and All In. And I dropped a music video for a single called Bet, which I dropped a few months ago. Make sure to go check those songs out. I really, really like those songs. I think that they're bangers. And I'm excited for people to listen to them. We're going to do music videos for them. And we're going to try to push those records out there and get people listening, man. It's very, very fun music, good turn up music. So if you need a turn up this year, go listen to All In by Parlay Hunter or Double Down by Parlay Hunter. Make sure you go check those out.
Will we ever see Parlay, entertain the idea of URL or some battle rapping?
That was a dream back in the day, Dre. That was a dream. We used to watch some of my favorite battle rappers, DNA. I got him on a feature for a song called
Clips.
Yeah, I got DNA on a song called Real Spit. I love DNA. And I love battle rap, so I'm happy you said that. But personally, I don't think I could compete with those guys. I really think battle rappers have the best pen game. Listen, there's better battle rappers than the most famous rappers in the world.
Facts.
You take the top 5 best rappers in the world. I'll take the top 5 battle rappers in a lyrical pen game writing battle, and I'll take the battle rap every time. The battle rappers really take this art very seriously, and I mean, I think they hold it to a higher standard. It's not about being a celebrity. It's about who can say the realest and most creative ish. And it's a mental exercise that I think they perform better than anybody. So I would love to go to a battle rap show this year. I think I'll definitely have to do that. But I don't see myself competing because realistically, I know that those guys are better than me when it comes to battle rap and rapping, to be completely frank. But I love making music and I love rapping and I'll keep putting out. And if any battle rappers want to get on a feature, holler at me. I would love to make some music with y'all.
Man, hey man, I don't even know how to follow up with that, but no, that battle rapping has definitely been a good part of my summer, I will say. But I asked Parlay to really do this one because I wanted to be transparent and vulnerable with the audience. And man, mental health is serious. Get the help. I really say get the help. And I'm speaking from a first person point of view. This has been a difficult last month, really, for me. More so just the whole last year. I don't know if everybody knows, I was an admission counselor, everything. I worked in higher education. I was working down in Marshall, Minnesota. I'm now back here, currently living with my girlfriend in Minneapolis, and your support system, her and my family, it's about who you got around you. And, our me and her situation, I'm not going to talk about my personal life. I'm just going to share the point of like, everything isn't always clear from your relationship, but it doesn't mean that people still love you, want you to be your best you, regardless if you all are together or not. But the thing is, it's like your mental is important, bro. And just to share more, I've been going through it. I've been seriously going through it. Not on the level of suicide. I don't let myself get to that, but it's been deep. It's been when you're trying to fix all the things it's like having a new playbook. As you get older, you're supposed to mature. You're supposed to drop things from a boy to a man. And that's why they say that manhood, and it's real. And it's like the drugs, the drinking, the women, just the lifestyle, and when it's hard because your flesh, who you are, and just when you walk outside, you want to stay the same forever. You want to be that young guy. You want to do the fun shit forever from a mindset. If we could, we would. But man, when I tell you, like, my mental health has been affected this summer, bro. Not having a job, not having money like I used to, not being able to kind of, live the way I want to. Because keeping it frank, if I didn't live here with my girlfriend and I didn't live in my grandma's, I would be homeless right now. I would be living out of my car, like having all my shit in my car. And those feelings start to elevate because it's the reality of the fact that you feel like you're not amounting to nothing, and you feel like things are like going for the worse. In some ways they can be, but then in some ways you got to keep yourself there and don't let yourself get to that. I went recently to Killer Mike concert this past Monday, and when I tell you, bro, he deserved that Grammy for all 3 of those things. I think the Killer Mike album truly is the reason why through God, because God is the reason why I'm still alive. Let me be frank with that. God is for sure the reason why, but through the album and the soundtrack of Killer Mike's Michael album, like I cried so many times this past 2 weeks. But when I went to this concert, bro, it was like a spiritual thing that uplifted my mental, and it got me thinking about a lot of things. And bro, just to keep it frank, I've been going through a lot of shit, like having bad trips on weed, and I've been on depression pills, and things that are not normal. And Parlay's hearing this for the first time, so this is really, and I hope this does air on our clips. If we break it down, I want people to hear this. This is why I'm saying it. Get the help you need. I'm in therapy twice a month. I go see a psychiatrist once a month. I'm going to get tested this week for ADHD, see where I am on the spectrum of that, and trying to get all the help I need so I can be one with myself, to be not ashamed, but understand this is where I'm at. And one thing I'll say, do what you love and do what you're passionate about. And I know for me, the struggles I have a lot is through my grieving, not dealing with my childhood, things that happened, things that didn't happen, not dealing with the grief of my stepdad still being dead. But what's crazy is, Parlay, the one thing that I cry about the most, and I'm getting emotional right now, I don't cry about nothing else, not even my family or my girlfriend or anything, but football. Football is the most thing I cry about the most, because that's the first thing I ever loved. The way I loved it. I prepared, I wanted to go be in the NFL. And what God is telling me is, and what I tell you all the time, do what you're passionate about, because your gifts will make room for your talent. And what you're passionate about is your purpose. And that's where money will come if you work it. That's why I'm proud of you. And I love you, bro. I do. And I'm not ashamed to tell a grown man that I love him when he's my brother and he's in my family. I'm so proud of you because you kept going with the music, regardless of what people said. It's more than a dream. This has been your purpose, because through your music, you have seen other endeavors and gifts that have come about it, and friendships and network. And, I don't know everything out there in New York, but I know just through music alone, things have opened up for you that you never, would even imagine. And so for me, bro, it's me getting back with football. It's rekindling that marriage, because that's a part of me and it never will go. Even when I have kids, I know it's going to be important for them to understand my love for football. And so whether that's coaching, my biggest dream would be an NFL GM. But whether I got to start in coaching, I got to go do something, I got to get back to football. And I know once I do that and dedicate myself, regardless of not seeing any money, that's another thing. We live in a world where money runs everything, because we're 30 and people are telling us we're too late. But then we listen to Gary Vee, and Gary Vee's like, man, you're young as fuck. Go live your life. Go do everything. And so it's like, I'm in a crossroads, man, because I have a beautiful woman that loves me, and I'm trying to understand that. But then I'm trying to be understanding my individual life. And so you're getting cluttered with everything in your brain, to where your brain shuts down. And that's what mental health is. People think mental health are people on drugs that are crazy. Well, how did they get on drugs, and how were they crazy before? Get what I'm saying? People don't just start crazy and do drugs. Shit affects them. Depression, anxiety, strongholds, losing loved ones, like going from being successful to broke, taking the opportunity that I had to move to Houston, and then y'all rip the rug under me and tell me I'm not able to go because of a DUI. Me making the mistake of a DUI and not understanding the degree of difficulty at the time. Now we fast forward a whole year and a half later, I can't get no job. Bro, I've been this whole summer, and you can ask my girl, you can ask my family, I've been busting my ass, application, interview after interview. And when I tell you, bro, people don't understand the feeling of when somebody tells you no. Like, bro, I've seen 1,000 no's. I can go on my emails right now and scroll emails say, all due respect, we think you were, a top applicant, but we're going to furthermore go with somebody else. Like the feeling of that, it's a feeling of being accepted. And then the confidence. And this is the last thing I'll talk about, is confidence. And I revolve back to football. And I revolve it back to this character I done made. And so I want people to understand, and I'll take my hoodie off for this. This is who I am. I'm DeAndre Green. This life of D Green shit don't mean nothing to me, bro. Like, that's a character. Parlay Hunter's a character. It's not who Hunter Fitzgerald is. Like, we became these people, and I understand what it is now to be or keep up this thing of like who you portray to be on Instagram, and that's not the reality of where my life is. So, two, why I haven't been posting on Instagram is because I know the next time I get on Instagram and post and do what I do, I truly want to be the most authentic self of who I am. And I don't want it to be, I want Life of D Green to look like Dre. And I want Dre to look like Life. I want them to be the same person. And when you lose your confidence, bro, that right there, like Austin Powers made a movie about it, losing your mojo, losing that swag. Now, I haven't lost everything, but when you're going through what you're going through and you can't see the light, you keep faith in God for sure. But it's hard on a day-to-day. And when you can't see it, you lose that confidence. And bro, when you lose your confidence, it's tough to find that shit. And so little wins become big wins, and big wins become motherfucking dreams and aspirations. And right now, where I'm at, I'm just getting the help that I need so I don't worsen myself. But physically, I haven't been well. I'll share a little bit more. Like, I had a bad trip on some weed the other day because I've been taking depression pills. And bro, when I tell you, like, yeah, you didn't even know this shit, bro. I'm about to cry. Like, bro, like, Hilmar, I don't know if I was gonna be here, bro. Like, the other day, like, shit is wild, bro. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know I'm at a point where I gotta take some shit serious, bro, and get right, because it's just rhythmic patterns right now, and life isn't what it used to be. And I don't find fun in a lot of shit. I'm just always moody, irritable, and it seems uncontrollable. And so that's my mental check. I just want people to get help, bro. That's truly, I don't want people to feel ashamed, because I don't feel ashamed anymore. But I know even when I seen you a couple weeks ago with Reese, like, I don't know if you could tell, but yeah, I was a little bit different. And it was more because I just been battling shit, and I've just been in the house. Like, I've had anxiety to be social because I've been in a house all summer. Pretty much, I've either going to work, I go work out in the morning, eat, smoke weed, and that's it, and play the game. That's it. Like Hilmar, didn't do nothing for my birthday. Haven't gone nowhere. The first thing I'm gonna do today, first thing social outing I've done, going to the Twins game today. Outside of that, I went to a family reunion where I was tweaked out and I couldn't. So it's like being in a crack house, but not doing crack, but your mind still feels like you're doing crack.
Yeah, I want to thank you for sharing that. Like, I really appreciate it. I think that the viewers, the fans will appreciate it. I mean, it's hard to be real, you know what I mean? And I think you just did that, and that's something that a lot of people can't do. And a lot of people think they got their stuff all together, but they can't be real like how you just were. So I really appreciate that, and I think other people will appreciate listening to that as well. That's very helpful, you know, and it helps other people who are going through stuff. I'm going through stuff, and it's hard to talk about, but listening to somebody be vulnerable and talk helps me, and it helps me feel, you know, basically it makes me feel like, okay, like there's other people who are struggling and they're working their ass off to get better. So I really appreciate that. It's motivating, and it it helps other people. It really does. So I really appreciate that, Dre. And I mean, you know, I mean, the podcast aside, bro bets aside, on a friendship level, bro, I love you for life, bro. You're my brother. You know what I mean? Like, I'd do anything for you, my man. So I want you to keep being strong. I want you to be strong, bro. I'm tearing up saying this myself, bro. Like, I want you to be strong. I'm always here for you, bro. And you can always talk to me. And I'm gonna always talk to you when I'm going through it, man. So I really, man, I love you. I appreciate you, bro. And I know, bro, from knowing you for so long, you have great willpower, whether it comes from God or whether, or whether you manifested it yourself and God's looking upon you right now and saying, Dre's doing it. Dre's working. Dre's being stronger. He's using his gifts. He's going to work on himself. He's doing better. That's, bro, you epitomize, are the epitome of love and strength and willpower. And I appreciate that. I've always looked at you like that. I've known you since you were a baby, bro. So I know that's a gift from God that you have inside you. So keep doing that. Keep shedding your light on other people. You might be in a dark place right now, but there is a crack of light, bro, that's shining through. And it just shined through right now as you expressed yourself. So keep shining your light, bro, because other people need it. The world needs it. The universe that God made needs it. So keep shining your light, bro. And I love you. This is a great podcast. I'm going to sign out. I'm Parlay Hunter.
Life of the green, man. Love, man.
Love.